My First Two Loves, Chapter 93, Scientia Tridens. The human anatomy is an awe-inspiring thing. Every single organ has a specific purpose, powering the actions we take from running to jumping to just being. But as I watched Noah's fingers tighten around my acceptance letter, everything inside me was a mess. My heart had jumped up to my throat and my stomach felt like it might fall out of my butt at any second. Emma, what is this? It's my big news. I took a deep breath before taking the letter out of his hands. This is what I wanted to talk to you about. I got into NYAI. I'm going to New York this fall. Wow. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I should bring it up. I mean, you're staying here, and NYC is a long ways away. And I know you were cool about it before, but then it was just hypothetical. Now it's real, and I can't tell what you're thinking. What are you thinking? A silence fell between us, coating the room in tension. Well, that's it. Any second now, he's gonna say it's over. Should have never fallen for me. He's gonna take it all back, and... Before my mind could run far, too far, Noah wrapped his arms around me, pulling me into his chest, grounding me to that one moment. I'm thinking congratulations. A weight I didn't even know I'd been carrying left my chest, and for the first time since I'd walked back into that room, I took a deep breath. You are? It's kind of bittersweet, but yeah, it'll be hard, but we'll find a way to make things work. Whatever the future's got in store, nothing can tear us apart. I promise. The words were barely out of his mouth when my phone chimed, and when I looked down at it, I had a new message. Sorry, just got this. Been under a mountain of moving boxes, but if you don't mind helping, I'd love to see you. Everything okay? Yeah, I finally heard back from Mason. I guess he's moving. Does he know about New York? I shook my head and Noah sighed. You gotta tell him. Cheer, squad. You two have been close since forever. He's not gonna bail on you now. He took my chin in his hand and tilted my head back until I looked him right in the eyes, his voice lowered to a masculine growl. And for the record, neither am I. I swallowed hard as I leaned into his touch, closed my eyes, and imagined drawing him closer and... young love. Now when I jumped apart, and when I looked around, Buddy was leaning casually against the door frame. At your age, it feels like it can cure all. But when you get to be as old as me, you realize one thing it can't fix. The transmission of a 1988 Thunderbird. If only there was a mechanic around. He eyed Noah pointedly and then nodded towards the bay before heading back to his office. I should get back to work, but talk to Mason, let him be excited for you too, because he will be. As Noah hurried back to the cars, I took a deep breath. With shaky hands, I texted Mason to let him know I was on the way. Ever get tongue-tied? When I got to the Jennings, nothing was the way I remembered it. Gone were the fancy cars lining the driveway, the prim and proper manicured lawn. Still looks like that, though. Instead, I found Mason lugging boxes out of the house alone, each one looking a little heavier than the last. Need a hand? He plopped the box down against the concrete and shot me an exhausted smile. Actually, I'd love one. Come on, there's more inside. I followed him into the living room to see boxes stacked high, waiting to be moved. Where are you taking all this stuff anyway? You mean you don't know? The Eastridge rumor mill is losing its touch. The government froze our assets, and since the place was purchased with illegal income, they seized the house too. Luckily, the family and all of our old house are still looking to sell. We're moving in there and cooperating with the investigation. Mason, I'm so sorry, but at least there's a silver lining. You'll get some one-on-one time with your mom. With it being just the two of you, you'll get a chance to reconnect and maybe patch things up. I hadn't thought about that. We've both been so obsessed with Dad that, well, what he wanted in our relationship kind of fell to the wayside. We each grabbed some boxes and hefted them outside, working steadily until the boxes lined the driveway. So when did the movers get here with the van? About that. Mason grabbed his keys out of his pocket and hit the remote. A plain black car chirped from its place near the garage. Nobody's coming, it's just us and this guy. Is that your new car? Yeah. Turns out you can't pay bills from a frozen account, so we had to give my car back. My mom pawned her dream wedding ring to get me this one. She must have been devastated. Hardly. She actually is at work right now. Her first day at a new job in years. She was excited to go. But I should probably tell you, the Air Force Academy yanked my admission. They sent a letter and everything. Oh, Mason. I put down my box and wrapped him in a hug, and he squeezed back. But when I pulled away, he was still smiling. It's okay. I'm okay. But how? Your whole life is being ripped out from underneath you. How are you even still standing? Because some of us are built with a different cloth. Mason sighed and turned to look at the huge mansion looming over us. I'll admit I took it pretty hard for a while. I was mad as hell and didn't want to see anybody, but then I realized everything I'm losing has traces of my dad in it, and when it's all gone, he's finally be purged from my life. So as far as I'm concerned, they can take it all. It'll be an adjustment, but I'll survive. That's really brave of you, but are you sure you're ready to say goodbye to all this? I think I am. It's the last 2 years were really a twisted fever dream, and I'm finally waking up. I took his hand, and he stroked the back of mine with his thumb. It may suck, but this will be how things were supposed to be. Well, if you're embracing the suck, let's get you home. This place screams, help me, I'm part of an HOA. Mason laughed and gave me a playful shove, and together we started loading the boxes into the car, packing it to the gills, while Maverick ran in circles, chasing his tail. After we'd strapped the last box to the roof, we climbed in and started the drive back to our old neighborhood. But my acceptance letter still felt heavy in my pocket, and I weighed the idea of telling Mason about New York over and over again. If I say something now, it'll just seem like bragging. But if I don't say something, how long will it be until someone else does? And he should hear it from me. Spill it. Whatever it is that your eyebrows are so knit together. Just say it. You know you want to. I don't think now's the right time. You've got so much going on. My good news can wait. Would it help if I told you some good news first? All I'm hearing is that you've been holding out on me. What's going on? Well, believe it or not, I went to see my dad. Oh boy. Now, playing as Mason. The memory rushed back, bringing the dank smell of the prison with it. The CO led me to the room in the back, and he opened the door, and there was my father sitting handcuffed to the table. Don't get up on my account, this won't take long. The officer shut the door behind me, and I heard the loud click of a log sliding into place. I sat down at the table. They took my car today. Repossessed was the word they used, actually. And I got a call from the commandant of cadets at the academy. She told me in no certain terms that I'm no longer welcome in the fall. I've never been so embarrassed in my life. And for the first time I walked into the room, Dad turned to look at me, his eyes burning with anger. So, do you think I care about your car or school? Look around, Mason, I have bigger problems to worry about. But that's just it. You don't have to care about school. Because while you're busy ruining my life, I saved myself. I applied to the Naval Academy and got in. I just came to tell you... Noah sends his best. Anything you want me to tell him back? Didn't think so. This'll be the last time we see each other, and looking around may be for the best. You've got bigger problems to worry about, right? God, I love this moment. It's just karma. It's just liquid karma. Just... Now playing as Emma. As we pulled up in front of Mason's old house and started up unloading, I felt my jaw fall open. And then I got up and walked out. Whoa, Mason, I'm so proud of you. And the best part of it all is that Maryland is only a train ride away from New York. I pulled the letter out of my pocket and handed it to him, watching as his eyes skimmed the page. You got in? Mason scooped me into a hug, and together we spun around on the lawn until we were both too dizzy to stand. We collapsed in each other's arms on the cold ground, and he pulled me close, his body warm against mine. And for a second, My eyes found his lips soft, full, and just inches away, and then I watched as his face slowly fell. Wow, I guess this is the end of an era, huh? What? I mean, she literally said it was a train right away. Now who's making a big deal out of this? It's the start of a new one. Mason stared into my eyes for a moment, then climbed to his feet and extended his hand to me. Come on, I want to show you something. We went inside, and all at once, everything about the house felt familiar again. The same old floorboards creaked under my feet, and even empty, the house smelled faintly like freshly cut flowers and dish soap. Mason stopped me in front of the staircase. Remember this? How could I not? We nearly broke our necks riding down this banister together. That's not exactly what I was referring to. He took my hands in his and placed them against the smooth wood of the railing. When I see the staircase, I think of the first time I ever held you. His fingers trailed up my arms and across my shoulders and down my back, sending goosebumps up my spine. Of your back against my chest, the smell of your hair in my face. Why don't you tell me more? I'm starting to think my memory is not as good as I thought it was. Mason leaned closer until his lips brushed the shell of my hair, lowered his voice to a gruff whisper. What do you want to hear? How much I've always wanted you? How I wondered what it would like to feel you in my arms for something more intimate than a joyride down the banister. I turned to face him, and immediately my eyes zeroed in on his full lips, his strong jawline. For a golden boy, you sure got some pretty off-color thoughts. Didn't anyone even tell you I'm nobody's golden anything? Mason lowered his head, brushing his lips across the sensitive skin of my neck, and it took everything in me to stay on my feet. And I haven't been a boy in a long time. As Mason pulled me a bit closer, bit by bit I started to melt from the inside out. If I'd known a walk down memory lane would bring out your dark side, I'd have started reminiscing a long time ago. What do you say we do less reminiscing and more rewriting? You said yourself this is the start of a new era. But shouldn't that come with a new memory? Like what? Getting down and dirty on the dishwasher? My words came out breathy, and I thought I'd meant it as a joke. If he'd grabbed my hand and headed for the kitchen right that second, I wouldn't have stopped him. His tongue grazed my pulse point, and I gripped him to me tightly, blood racing through my veins. Maybe all I know is we've got the rest of the afternoon and an empty house all to ourselves. Why not make the most of it? In that case, I want you on the stairs. I pressed a passionate kiss to his lips, pushed Mason until his back was on the wooden stairs before straddling his laps. He felt for the hem of my clothes, pulling them off and discarding the fabric on the bare and dusty floor. His hands found my backside, and I shivered at his touch. At that moment, I wanted him more than anything else. I slipped my fingers under his shirt, the rippling muscles stoking the fire in the pit of my stomach, and in one smooth move he pulled them off. Outside, the sun was beginning to set, and a familiar draft snuck in from the crack underneath the front door. Still, we were in each other's arms, and Mason pulled back to look at me, his eyes shining in limited light. You are the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. The tenderness in his tone made me stop short. A sudden reminder that his body wasn't the only thing I loved about him. Mason, I think you're a little biased. You've known me almost your whole life. That's gotta sway the vote, don't you think? Mason pressed a kiss to my forehead, my cheeks, my temple. Emma, I could spend the rest of my life looking high and low for every woman in the world, and all I would find was a bunch of people who aren't you. I laid my head against his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart until the sun disappeared completely, bathing us in darkness. Come on, we better get those boxes inside. Should maybe get dressed first. Later, after lunging everything in, Mason and I sat perched on the stairs, letting the nostalgia wash over us. I'm guessing you told No already. Believe it or not, he was actually the one who convinced me to tell you. And I guess I owe him one. And hey, with both of us out of the way, that just leaves Ava. How do you think she's gonna take the news? This time I clinched at the question, because it was the one I'd been trying to desperately avoid asking myself. Everything about our relationship was new. Could it even hold up to the strain of possibly being long distance? Or were we over before we'd even really begun? Whatever. Without further ado, thank you all for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Head to the description below, links to social media, Discord, and a few links to support me and my content. And without further ado, thank you all for watching. There's one more chapter left, then I'll be officially caught up. And then there's My First Two Loves, 95 later today, and Baby Bump. So, thanks for watching. Peace out.